This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Mr. Kevin McCormack, welcome to the Mark McCormack Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just kidding. It's actually the President McCormack Podcast with Mark McCormack as your host. Today, it's awesome. We got my little brother on the podcast, also an employee.
Right.
And everyone says you should never work with family, and I disagree.
We do very, very well.
Yes, we do.
Very well. Like-minded.
We are very like-minded, unlike our other siblings. No, I'm just teasing. We all get along really well. So you are the third family member to be on the podcast so far, so I got to get my little sister on here, or our little sister on here at some point.
Nice.
So I'm talking to her. But yeah, man, just get all the people I like and seeing how it goes.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So first off, Kev, why don't you tell the viewers, all 6 or 7 of them out there, as of right now, thank you, Mom and Dad, and my close friends and family. Why don't you explain to everybody what you do with the business? And you're at ADP Lemco. You were for ADP
Right,
Lemco.
so at ADP Lemco, so I handle a department, our service department is essentially what I do. But that entails everything from meeting the customer, talking through what he needs, ordering product, to installing it, everything except for the accounting side. So most of my customers that I've created over the years, they know no one through ADP, no one at ADP. They know me, they see me personally, meet me, everything, and then they get an invoice at the end. Yeah. So, which is nice because then everyone talks to me on a personal level. So it's almost like I work with a bunch of friends throughout the country, which is kind of interesting. But then that goes further too, because I have personality when I meet people. It's not just to sell. So that just creates more and more business. And then there's also some other things I dabble with. And then with working many, many years through ADP, that has given me the knowledge to where I don't have to depend on anybody. So I can do literally everything myself and just handle it. So my projects generally go pretty smooth. Product gets there because it's me on top of it. It's me installing it, type of thing. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I do. Yeah. So my wife Victoria always is telling me, like, you never explain enough of what you do. You just say, oh, I do basketball. Because I could explain it, and most people are still just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh,
whatever
yeah, that's
that
my
is.
world. People I don't know, and I'm just like, when I'm not in the mood, they just go, what do you do? I'm like, I work in a manufacturing plant, and then they don't care.
They're like, oh, cool.
Sweet.
Detroit, huh? Nice.
Yeah. Well, why do you travel so much? I'm like, well, it's a little more complicated than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So funny enough, so on the podcast with Dad, I actually talked about how I started working for him as an 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really sure if that was against the law here in Utah. Do you remember when you first started working officially?
I remember the first ADP building in American Fork. So, when did he move? 94?
Oh, jeez.
When did he buy Lemco?
No, he would have moved out there in like 96. He bought Lemco in 92. He started building the building out in West Jordan in 94, and then they moved in 96.
Okay. So, that would have put me, 96 would put me at 11. Okay. So, ADP would, he started ADP.
But you worked at the old building.
Yeah. Okay. So I worked at the very first one, just doing whatever, right? It's kind of more playing around, run around the hidden dark rooms. Yeah. So I would have been, definitely sub 10.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever do like color cards at home or all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, down in the basement, doing all that stuff.
So what was the process of doing a color card?
So when we first did it, right, we used to glue them on the cardboard itself. Mm-hmm. So you get a little sheet. I think we would even cut them out. I think at one point, I think he got a machine that kind of cut it because it probably looked not professional having kids cut it. Then we just glue that on there, and then there was a couple other papers, and so we'd have that green binder, right? So you got you got whichever section, ADP or Lemco. Yeah. And then you'd put the papers in there, snap it up, put it in the motor box is probably what it was. Yeah. Stack them all in there, and we got paid insanely well to do that.
We did actually. So yeah, we made about
dollar color card.
$1. Yeah, it was a dollar a binder.
Dollar a binder.
Dollar a binder. So to kind of explain what that is our company works in general bidding, so we have to be specified, right? Mm-hmm. And so being specified means we have to take our materials and stuff and show them to architects. And so when our salesmen would go out, when we were kids, we would build this binder of like different color cards of the products that we do and specifications and product data, and we put it all together. And then my dad would make us, or our dad would make us invoice him, and then we would get paid whenever they process the invoice, kind of like it still happens.
Yep. Yep.
And then we started working summers. You were probably 13 when you first started working a summer?
Yeah, usually junior high, I think, is when we started. Yeah. So between
7th and 8th?
Between 7th and 8th, I think, is when we start.
What was your first job there?
I don't know, actually.
I remember mine.
Which one was yours?
Trimming tack boards.
So, I mean, I've definitely done everything. Yeah. So it's hard because I stayed out there a little bit longer before I went into the office stuff. I remember laminating, like 14. So, yeah. I mean, laminating was there, which is crazy too, because we were 14-year-old kids picking up these heavy things. But I mean, we were going deliveries. I mean, we got treated like we were 18-year-olds because we were the size of everybody there.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust a 14-year-old back there right now if I had a gun to my head.
No.
And we don't even have a laminating machine.
I mean, we had a guy get his arm smashed in the laminating machine.
Yeah.
That's an adult.
I've watched a few crazy things happen out there.
No, I've seen some bad cuts and things.
The one guy in the press that like nipped his finger and it like exploded out.
No.
It was like, as you can see, friends and family.
Oh yeah, we are good.
I learned from other people's mistakes.
Oh man,
we put in way more hours than any other person back there and never had an injury.
Oh man.
So that was crazy back then. So the laminating machine, explain that. Like, what is that?
So laminating machine was for the marker boards, chalkboards, attack boards, everything. Visual display boards, I guess, to sum it all up. But essentially, you've got your backer. So basically, everything we did was particle board then. So you basically had particle board or MDF, and then that would go through these giant rollers. They were 6 feet wide. And it would go through a section. It would roll a layer of glue on there that would travel through and kind of get a certain amount of tackiness.
It was hot glue, right?
Yeah, it was. They just call it hot melt? That doesn't sound right. I don't know. Came in a big 55-gallon drum, and you'd have this this heat mechanism that would go into the top, like suction to it, and you'd have to go all the way through before you can ever take it out, because then it would ruin the glue. Yeah. So you'd have to go all the way through. That would heat it up, then go on the top roller or the bottom roller and almost like pool up between the two rollers. And then that would put whatever thickness of glue that you want, go through, press on there, go through a little conveyor belt type of thing, get tacky, and then come to the other end, which either you're putting cork on the top or you're putting steel on the top and or foil on the bottom. And then that would come through, and then you'd cut that, roll it, stack it, flip it, stack it,
Oh, yeah.
Back and forth. Once Luis had that machine running right, a lot less scrap, and whatnot. I mean, I remember, when we were first doing it, we were slamming the stop button all the time because it's putting it on crooked. And 16-footer turns into a 4-footer. We had lots of 4-footers. We had old Scotty doing the, remember Scotty with the smoker? Loved going out in the middle of winter to fill up propane because he could smoke.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, that's smart. put the propane tank on and go smoke in the corner of the building.
There was a lot of employees back then. There was probably, 60 to 80. I don't know.
Yeah.
Both companies back there.
Yeah, it's 80 in the back. Something like that. It was a lot.
A lot of employees.
Busy. So.
Wild times.
I drove past there yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Or Tuesday, because I was coming back from Magna. I was out in Magna. I just drove past there. It's funny. It still looks the same, but different at the same time,
I've been out there a few times, because I've gone out there and seen Ryan, the owner.
Yeah.
Wasatch Transportation.
Right.
So, no, it's crazy. We went from a 60-something thousand square foot building. Now we're down to 10 with manufacturing partners all over the country, and just weird how the business has evolved.
Oh, it is.
So
it is.
We got the heck out of the manufacturing game.
Yeah.
Well, Now we just do custom stuff. But
Right, custom stuff and one-offs and whatnot.
yeah. And then, so let's see. So I mean, doing every job in the shop. I mean, it goes from welding to trimming boards to laminating machines to hauling crap around, delivering. I didn't actually do that much delivering.
Didn't you?
Did you do a lot of it?
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of nice because you get a break in those hot summers, right? You're like, all right, I get like a 30-minute break in AC, and then it would be hell.
Yeah.
Like after that for the next like however big the job was.
Yeah.
You know, I remember maxing out those delivery trucks where you take a corner, it's just swaying.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think we ever had a box truck that didn't have the box broken.
True. Yeah, we maxed those things out, taking less trips as possible. But yeah, I remember just going jobs, two of us, me and Simon. I think I did a ton with Simon. I was in junior high and high school. But yeah, just on boards everywhere. You know, then I was just the delivery guy for like a little bit.
Oh, cool.
So when we did that, I always did that just by myself.
Yeah.
Just met with people and unload on dock or whatever. And that was kind of nice. And that then just evolved into other things. We stopped doing deliveries really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we did. It was just cheaper to ship them out.
yeah, or just will call.
Yeah.
So
So there's a 3 year age gap between us.
Mm-hmm.
Did we work together much when we were teenagers? I'm trying to remember. I think I was welding. When I was 17, 18, I was welding.
I remember when we were in shipping. If you remember, like when we package up the marker boards, we'd have the 2 barrels with the cardboard on top. And I remember like one of my first days, we didn't have a board. We were waiting for a board, so I sat on top of the barrel. And he said, like, don't look lazy. So I got up.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. So
that was our father talking right through me.
Yep. So yes, I never sat on a barrel again in my life.
Good.
Still don't sit on barrels.
Yeah. I actually just got on my son's butt last night because he's at football tryouts and he sat down on the ground for a second. I was just like, freaking butt up. He's like,
So we definitely did work a little bit on stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, shipping's rough, man. You take a 180-pound board and you lay another 180-pound board on top of it, band it, take it off the barrels, slide it into the back of a truck for 12 hours with a half an hour lunch break.
Yeah.
I mean, that is all day, every day.
That's why we're the size we are.
And there's worse jobs. There's roofing.
There's roofing in the middle of the summer.
Sewer, I'm sure, is worse. Yeah, roofing in the summer, I will go move marker boards all day.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, ADP's been great. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
So what was your first office job?
I think it was purchasing. So I think after Mom worked there for a little bit, then I took over what she was doing. But then I did, I was doing purchasing and stuff out in the back as well, which has helped a ton because that purchasing I learned a lot more of like linking, products to jobs and stuff like that, which helps me now where some people in the office, don't do that. They never had that or don't really know how that works. So I never have to. That's like a big part of my ride, not to rely on somebody. Because I can be on the road, pull out my laptop, and then I can create the job, order the parts, get them on their way, go back to work.
Now, one thing that's amazing is how much technology we have in the company now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, compared to 20 years ago.
You would not be.
insanity.
Yeah, I'm so efficient now compared to where I was.
Well, we used to have 35 office employees, between 30 and 35, about the time I started full-time post-mission.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have 10?
I think 10.
10 or 11 inside there. And we do 4 times as much business almost.
Yeah.
3 times as much business.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy the volume we push out now compared to the old days.
Right.
I still remember when we were throwing old files away, but from like the 80s, right? When you talk to a contractor, you would literally write a freaking memo, like hand write a memo, pop the carbon paper, keep a copy of it, send them the memo in the mail, and wait for them to reply. My brain can't even wrap around how business even gets done.
Right.
Doing that, I mean, can you imagine like 4 return submittals that had to be revised? It'd take 9 months.
Yeah.
It'd be like insane.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, technology's brought us a long way. So how'd you get into the position you're in now? I mean, I know, but go ahead and let us know.
Just as the company's evolved, my purchasing position essentially went away. The manufacturing went away. So the stuff I was doing manufacturing versus stuff I was doing in the office, just kind of ran into, kind of what to do. So I became an installer for a little bit, and learned that knowledge, and that life experience that don't need to be a full-time installer again, type of thing. But that's also kind of, it's just knowledge. It's just another section that I did. I haven't loved every job that I've done. That was one that I learned a lot because one, when I talk to people and I sell to people, they can give me whatever terminology they're talking about on a basketball backstop, and I can describe the part back to them like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's actually called this. That's what this is. Let's get this thing fixed. This is how that broke or whatever. And I can describe almost anything through the phone. And being there, figuring stuff out, because I've just done so much. I've done everything from manufacturing the part to installing the part to understanding how it works, and then now just talking to people about stuff. And so that's kind of how I've gone to where I'm at. So I installed for a little bit, and then came back into the office to really start doing the what I'm doing now, the service department area.
One thing about service and maintenance is kind of funny. Historically in our businesses, we kind of shunned it.
Yeah.
People would call and be like, hey, this thing's broken, and we're too busy working on, $50,000, $60,000 jobs that are brand new. And we're just like, we'll get you a part, whatever. And we kind of realized we needed to actually service these clients and take care of them. And now it's a very profitable arm of the company.
Yeah, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger too.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of how the world's going now. Everybody wants a desk job and be on a computer. So anything from a welder to a mechanic to all that sort of stuff, those are the jobs that are going to become very unique, and then they become the most profitable jobs. Yeah. You'll end up paying someone to work on your car $400 an hour because there's not going to be that many mechanics when we're older.
It's a supply and demand issue.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm very happy all these guys are out there coding stuff and creating games for the iPhone and other bullshit that they do. No, I've had a bunch of tradesmen on here. I'll probably have a ton more, because that's our world, being in the trades, and that's the world to fly into. Yeah. You can be a tradesman in 6 months, Even for us, we're very specialized in some of the stuff that we do, but if you came in and were trained by us in 6 months, you're off and rolling, career oriented, traveling all over the place, and it's wild. Yeah. It is wild. And so, people call it a labor shortage, but really what it is a skilled tradesman shortage. Yeah. Out there in the world.
There's just people that don't want to do it. Yeah. It's crazy. There's good money in it.
There's really good money in it. So. There's really good money in it, especially when guys are begging you.
Oh,
yeah. Schools are laying off their staff, and they don't have, and the new ones they're hiring aren't qualified. They don't know anything. Hanging a market board quite simply is easy.
Right.
But they still have us do it all the time because they just don't want to deal with it. They don't really care what it costs.
Yep.
So.
This is very true.
So give us a day in the life of an installer for ADP. What's that like?
For me, so every installer is a little bit different, right? So because some like to start at different times, right? So if you got someone that's not a morning person, they start their day at 10. If you got someone that really likes to work by themselves and not be around people, we have installers that start at 4 p.m. and then they work till 4 a.m. They're just kind of just opposite shifts. So, day in life of me, I like to get up early, but I would get up early then I work late too, just try to maximize my time. And I'm just a little bit more efficient getting up early and working late than starting late and then trying to push through till 3 a.m. or 2 a.m., So I usually get up around like 6 or 7 on the job site, between 7 and 8. And then, when you first show up on a job, let's say the material's actually inside the gym, which sometimes that's not, and that's another headache you deal with, but you just look at the plans, figure out plans. The part of my background as well is in school, I wanted to be an architect when I was growing up, right? I just changed my mind once I was in college and taking some classes, but I did many, many architecture classes from probably the start of high school into college. So probably I would say at least 6-7 years worth of architecture classes. So I can read plans very, very easy, which also helps too when I go do field measures and stuff like that. I actually know what they're talking about. I understand what symbols mean and page numbers and this and that and what, just I know what it all means. I've learned it all. So then when I'm installing as well, it's very easy. Just like look at a plan for me because they're simplified anyways. Just look at a plan, be like, boom, 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 this is what this is going to do. And then it's just all from laying out from there. So kind of check your material and then lay it out, organize it. I'm kind of OCD, so which helps in this stuff in my mind because then you just know where everything's at and things move quicker. But then it's just measuring and then start throwing stuff in the air. So it's one of those things you take your time doing the superstructure and then you don't even have to think when you're assembling the rest of like the A-frame and the backboard and the goal and stuff like that. Just you've already done all the calculations. You don't have to, fudge it later on type of thing. So then, hopefully you get done a day early and get to go home. So
a typical job, how long does it take to install?
So a typical job I would say would be like a 6-unit, 1 curtain job, 20 wall pads, 24 wall pads. That is probably about 4 days, I would say. Yeah. So 4 long days.
Yeah, 4 days of some travel time.
Yeah, yep. So, and then we're kind of unique too because we do, we send 1 guy out, sometimes 2. And most crews around the country, they send about 6 people out, and they get done the same amount of time as us, but they work 8 to 5. 5 o'clock, they're done. They're hitting the bar, and 5 o'clock for us, that's lunch. And then we're back and, work until, minimum 10 p.m., when I'm out on jobs. So,
yeah, see, it's funny because people look at them and they're like, oh, you guys are crazy, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, who wants to go sit in a bar, make no money, sit in your hotel room, watch ESPN until you fall asleep, and then go work at 8 to 5?
Right. So you're essentially losing like a good, because you're in your groove too. At that time, and so, as long as your body's kind of acclimated to work those type of hours, some people just can't, but as long as your body's acclimated to work those type of hours, you're just flowing at that time. And then, you're seeing people leave at 3:30 on construction sites is when people start leaving, by 5 p.m. So you're just by yourself, take your Levi's off, put your shorts on, tank top for still.
Yeah, he likes the tank.
He likes the tank. And then, hard hat off, and you just get to work. You get so much more done. You get almost just as much done in that time that you did all throughout the day. You got no one coming and questioning you. You just fly. So those extra 5 hours, really 4 to 5 hours that you do to 8 or however long you want to work, or it's you just maximize that time, and then you come home early. You maximize your day.
Yeah.
So it's long hours, but then it's like, oh well, I either could have made $500 that day, or I made $1,200 that day.
Right. Yeah, take the money.
Yeah, take the money.
Yeah.
Lose a little sleep.
Right. So how many states have you worked in?
Man, I don't know. I know if I look at my phone, I've got an iPhone, and you've got that little feature, you can look at the world, right, and zoom out. Yeah. And I'm like, if you want to see what any place looks like, just zoom into my phone. I'll have a picture there. So I would say out of states, I've probably been to at least 40. There's still a couple elude me.
Yeah. Because you don't really hit the New England, right? Is that New England you haven't been to?
I haven't been to Maine. I just went to New York recently.
Yeah.
But I haven't done Hawaii. Need to work harder out there, right? Hawaii, Alaska.
You got to have a darker tan if you want to work out in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. Union states, states are hard to get in. So, yes, like Michigan, you're not doing work in Michigan, and Illinois is hard. But we also have the LDS Church too, which is a little bit separate, that I work with a ton, where they get us into a lot of places where unions are. Yeah. But unions don't know we're there. Yeah. We come in and we're gone in 2 days.
Yeah. And it's private work, so they can take whoever they want.
Right. Exactly.
Now, have you never worked in Alaska yet, right?
I haven't worked in Alaska yet.
I've been to Alaska twice, both times in January.
Oh. There's another season to go in summer.
Yeah, I know. I heard it's way different. Yeah. Because it is way cold when I went up there.
Oh, yeah.
Way cold. Have you ever been to Alaska?
Mm-mm. I haven't been to Alaska. I go to North Dakota a lot. It's
probably just as cold.
It gets pretty cold. It gets, you're negative, I think ambient air temperature, they hit like negative 40 and stuff. You start throwing like the wind chill factor in, that puts it to whatever. Yeah. Negative. I don't know. But I've also had hypothermia and some pretty cold temperatures, and I don't know, anything below like negative 20 feels essentially the same.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
Yeah.
It's a little too cold.
Yeah. Have you ever worked in a job that's so cold where they don't have heat going on in there?
Definitely on field measures. I've been on ones that are super cold, but I run very, very hot as well.
Yeah.
So usually I'm only there for like max 2 hours. But yeah, I've had some that are very, very cold on that. Usually by the time you're installing, though, they're almost too hot because they're running their giant propane turbines, and it's actually too hot.
We work up in the ceiling.
We'll ask them to, we work up in the ceiling so all the heat rises. We actually will ask them to turn them off. You know, we're like, dude, it's 90 degrees in here. It's a little ridiculous, you know. And then we'll leave it off through the night. I mean, it's only 10 degrees outside, and it'll cool it down to like 60, and it's like perfect, you know. Still working up a sweat at 60.
Yeah, see, I'd rather work in a hoodie than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, if it's 60 degrees in there with a hoodie on, or maybe even 55 degrees in a hoodie, as long as your fingers aren't cold.
Yeah.
You know?
But I'd much rather work in cold than hot. I guess, yeah, but you are right, though. Once your fingers stop working, then it can
get too
very
cold.
effective. I mean, you get as hot, you just got to drink more water.
Yeah.
But
see, Skylar and I, we went to Idaho one time, and we were just doing a field measure, and there was like no heat in there or anything yet. And dude, I had gloves on the whole 9 yards. I knew what I was getting myself into. Mm-hmm. I made it maybe 35 minutes, and I was like, bro, you got to finish this. I'm freaking freezing. I'm like, your finger's cold? And he's just like, no, I'm good. I'm like, all right, meet you in the car. Came out like 10 or 15 minutes later, but I was just like in the heat on the car. It was so cold.
Yeah.
And that was just Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a weird one. I keep hitting unique ones. Well, I'll call Dad on these. Have you ever ran into this? My recent one that I ran into was a bomb threat. So I've never had a bomb threat on a field measure before. On a
job site?
Yeah.
Where was that?
It was down in Durango. It was like 2 weeks ago. So I've got 10 minutes left of work. The guy comes in and is like, hey, you got to go. There's a bomb threat. I'm like, what?
No.
There's a bomb threat? Well, no. Yeah. I was just like, I'm like, dude, I got like 10 minutes. He's like, no, you got to go. And then I kind of started thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe this is serious. Yeah. You know, because it was on a college. So the college is, all in session and stuff like that. And then this building was under construction. I'm like, oh man, this actually might be serious. And that, get myself blown up because I got to get these measurements in. Yeah. So then it's, I got to the parking lot, and then they really started kind of freaking out there because there's lots of cops. Kind of started freaking out there with the contractor and stuff. I was like, get out of the parking lot, get off campus. They really were pushing that. So I don't know all the details, and they're freaking out. So I had to stay the night there. So I'm going to finish my 10 minutes at 8 a.m. in the morning. Or 7 a.m. in the morning, whenever. Yeah, I'm like, when do you open? 7. Cool, I'll see you at 7.
See you at 7.
So anyways, but I did one in South Carolina as well. This was another pretty unique one. They just had a tropical storm go through. So it had rained 7 or 9 inches the night before I got there. So lots of puddle jumping in the car the whole way there. Yeah. But I go to that job site, and it was put together horrible. The job, the gym had some spots of it were 2 inches out of the water, and then some parts were 6 inches in. So their floor was 8 inches difference throughout. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Anyways, had to go buy slickers or whatever they call big old boots or whatever. And then I gave them to a guy and I left. I was like, hey, do you go fishing? Yeah, I go fishing. I'm like, you want these? Like, dude, these are nice, man. They're brand new on my own. I'm taking them home on the airplane with me.
Dude.
We'll never use these again.
So I took Michelle to Kentucky. I've taken her a few times to Kentucky, right? Because we normally do 4 or 5 field measures at a time. So we fly into wherever, right? Drive to this job site. And I'd already been there once, right? But the measurements had like changed. Maybe I did them wrong. I can't really remember. I had gone to this job site. So I brought these crappy pair of shoes, right? Because I just knew it was crazy muddy. I show up and it's literally like 14 inches of water because it was a submerged basement gym, right? I'm just looking at that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So I find a stick. I stick it in the water, measure it off, right? And I'm just plowing through there with these shoes on, right? And I'm taking the measurements from the bottom. What ended up happening was instead of the walls going straight up, they actually went like this. And so it was like changing, it was changing it by like 8 or 9 inches at the top. Yeah. And the walls, the distance from the top of the walls were like 18 inches, where, it was supposed to be straight up.
Right.
Which is really odd because you couldn't actually see that from the ground. Normally, you and I, we've done it so freaking long, it's like, that doesn't look right. You know, you can kind of see, but like when you're in the building, it looked fine, right? Yeah. So anyways, I come tropping out of there, right? And I was in shorts because I knew what I was getting myself into. And I just go get in my car, plop my shoes off, leave them outside, close the door. I reach over and I grab my shoes, and Michelle's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Don't worry." And I just drive over the garbage can and just, doop. I'm like, they're done. Like, they're just full of mud. They're nasty. They're done. Yep. You know, because I've just been to enough job sites. It's like, I can't salvage these. Yeah. Like the red dirt that's in the Midwest, it's like worse than glitter. Oh, yeah. Like, you cannot get that stuff out of things, you know, which was Kentucky. It's like every freaking job I went to.
We just did that in Tennessee.
Did you?
A job when we left our shoes at the horrible hotel we stayed at the last night. Just like, you guys throw these away. Clean your hotel room.
Oh, I know, yeah. Earn the cleaning fee tonight, ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now, installing's a funny thing. I'll tell you one time, Garrett and I, funny enough, Mr. Gare, he's been on a million jobs with us. We were in Colorado, like Cherry Creek or something around there, right? And we were fixing these pads. They're vinyl. They just basically slapped on the wall. The vinyl was pulling off because whatever installer did it before just glued them right to the brick, right? That was never going to work. So we were adding these metal strips and then adding that Velcro back on there, right? So we're going around. And we're like all hustling because I'm sure we're going to go do something fun, golf or movie or something insane, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden the fire alarm starts going off, right? We're halfway done. So like 4 hours in, yeah, right? And it's just, I mean, it's louder than loud, right? Because they want everyone out of there. And I'm like looking around, and the job was actually done, so there's no one really there. It was just before the school had started, right? And there was a contractor, right? So I'm like, I go and talk to him finally while Garrett just works, because we're just going to keep on going. This will take 10 minutes, and then the stupid noise will be off. Mm-hmm. Go talk to the contractor. He's like, oh, no, they're testing those today. And I'm like, okay, how long is that taking? He's like, hell if I know, you know. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go in there, dude. After like an hour, me and Garrett just look at each other. I'm like, dude, can you handle this? I'm like, I don't know. So we like go outside. And I go talk to the guy again. I'm like, hey, this has been going on for like an hour. And he goes, yeah, they're testing it. And I'm like, do we have any idea how long they're doing it for? Because we can't even see the guys. I'm sure they're up in some, electrical box somewhere, right? Yeah. Anyway, so Garrett and I look at each other, and we're just like, what do you want to do? And he's just like, let's just get this done. So we go in the bathroom, wad up a whole bunch of toilet paper, get it wet, stuff our ears. It was still crazy loud. And I've never worked so fast in my life. We're just like, he's like putting the pads up, dude. We're just going crazy for 2 more hours. And then we were so deaf for like 2 days, we could barely hear anything. We just laughed in the car because I'd be like, and he'd be like, I'm like, what?
I'll do the same thing as back when we weren't quite as organized. Yeah. We're showing up late on jobs essentially, and they're testing those at the very end of the job. Oh. And yeah, I think they did it for 2 days straight.
Yeah, they're definitely.
The job I was on.
Yeah.
Just never stops.
Yeah. I have a video of it, actually. Yeah. Yeah, Garrett and I because at some point it's so ridiculous you just start laughing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just like.
So loud. Now they talk too.
Oh, get out? Yeah. What do they say?
I can't remember. Like, or caution.
Yeah, caution.
It starts repeating stuff, so you're like, what? Is someone talking through that? And you're like, oh, no. It's like, this is an alarm.
Yeah.
It's so loud.
It's funny, man. I used to know every job we did, and sometimes when I talk to Dad, they'll be like, you doing this job? And I'm like,
I have customers ask me that all the time. When are you doing this one? I'm like, I imagine.
I would hope so. I'm assuming we're doing that one.
Yeah, assuming we're doing that one.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's hard to know, especially because we got a couple people, they run different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody knows what's going on. I mean, if anybody in the company was asked, like, oh, are you doing this job in Reno? I have no idea. No one knows my jobs. They're just getting done. Dee will see them on a shipping list all of a sudden,
Exactly.
Or whatever. So.
I only normally know when something goes bad. So I'll be like, oh, yeah, that job, that guy is insane, blah, 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 blah. So, right. Yeah, I've got a current customer that's calling my cell phone every day. He's called me every day for probably, I don't even know, 2 months. Yeah. And I'm like, same answer every time, man. August 4th, baby. Yeah. I'm cheering for August 4th so bad in my heart.
I want you to have your product so bad.
I wish I could just do what you like, My favorite is when they don't have the stuff up in the ceiling for us to connect to. And they're like, well, how are you going to do this? And I'm just like, we're going to fly these magical fairies in, and they're just going to make steel appear, and we'll connect to that. I did that in L.A., and the guy, he kind of chuckled, you know, because he's a little gruff dude, and I was just like, it was actually when it was right when COVID hit, and I had to wear like the double mask down there and like all the garbage. They got forklifts rolling through there. Guys are welding, steel's banging everywhere, and he's asking me questions, and I'm just like, I can't hear you. And I pull my mask on. I'm like, I cannot hear a word you're saying, right? And I'd slap it back on, all ridiculous, you know. And he'd be like, oh, like, we just take these things off. Like, this is so ridiculous. We're freaking 10 feet from each other.
Oh man, yeah. When COVID first started, I did a job with Still down just south of Dallas.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was before masks. I mean, it was right at the shutdown. You know, so like going through Dallas, there was no one.
Yeah.
So seeing these massive cities just empty. You know, I had Dallas, Vegas, Seattle, like all right around there. And they were just dead. It was the weirdest thing.
Now you got a funny story I want to hear again. So remember your flight from Dallas to Seattle? Mm-hmm. You're like, tell me that story.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So it was during the 2 week, you know.
Yeah, it was during the shutdown.
Yeah, breakdown. You know,
I'm not sure if that's actually over or not, but
yeah, we're still trying to, you know,
we're
the curve.
You're breaking the curve.
To flatten that curve. You know, it's going crazy, the numbers. So anyways, yeah. So basically, what it was, I was going to come home, and then, you know, that was back when we didn't really know anything about COVID, right? So I was going to come home, and be at home for a couple of weeks and stuff like that. But I also had this other job that was up in Seattle. Yeah. So I may as well just go hit that, you know. Yeah. So take off from Dallas, and
that's how small the U.S. is to us, by the way. Like, I'll just pop into Seattle from Dallas before I head back to Salt Lake.
Yeah, I'll just fly over home real fast.
People complain about a 3-hour drive, and I'm like, that ain't nothing, dude.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I just drove to Elko this week to do a quick field measure. I'm back.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, where have you gone today? I'm like, oh, I've driven 10 hours today.
Been in 3 states in one day before.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, take off, and from Dallas, it wasn't quite as crazy as what we're getting at. But, you know, we fly there, and, you know, we're landing like 30, 45 minutes early. I'm like, that's nice.
Well, I thought, so the thing I find is funny, though, weren't you the only person on that flight?
So I had a layover because I was on Southwest.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So you never fly direct anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, this is to Denver. You know, so I flew to Vegas, and then I was, you know, going to find a bar, you know, type of thing. They had one open in that whole airport. I'm like, this is nuts. You know, that's the place that has like a bar. You know, just so. Anyways, was there for the layover, and then we took off, and it was one of 3. Okay. So there's 3 people on the plane. The one from Dallas to Vegas, I think, had like 8 or 10, you know, and I was like, this is crazy. And then I fly from there, and I'm like, whoa. And when there's 3 people on there, and then the way they took off from Vegas, it shot off so fast. I'm like, we are freaking hauling butt, you know, and it's just taking off down the runway. And then when it got grip and then just went in the air, it felt like we went vertical. I mean, it shot up to 10,000, 30,000 feet so fast. Yeah. I was like, this is nuts, you know? But that's back before masks, too. You know, it's just like 3 of us kind of chilling. You know, we're all like 10 rows from each other, just like, you know, sitting up there. And then we flew into Seattle. And as I was flying into Seattle, I mean, you could probably count on one hand how many cars are actually driving around Seattle, the whole area. You know, flying in at night.
Which is crazy. If anyone's ever been to Seattle is the worst place to drive in the world.
Yeah.
There's a bazillion cars.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's crazy there. It's always traffic there. So fly in, then I go to a hotel that was like really close there, you know, and I'm like, and that was back when it's like, oh, what's your capacity here? You know, they're like, oh, we're at, you know, 6% capacity. I'm like, wow. You know, they're like, pick a floor. Right. You know, wherever you want to be. So, but that's back when hotels were super cheap. Yeah. You know, so you're staying at the nicest Hilton for $70 a night. You know, this is great. Yeah. You know, then that really reversed. So now it's, you know, Motel 6 is $200 a night.
Yeah. No, I tell a story of you on that flight because a couple of those dudes kind of, you know, leaned down to sleep, whatever. And you're like, looked up and you're just like, I'm in this freaking metal box flying through the air because they weren't doing service or anything, right?
No, nothing.
You didn't see a pilot, you didn't see a stewardess,
right?
And then if you looked up for a minute, it was just you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Because
Apocalypse Now
you get
kind
the
of
whole
thing.
you get the whole row to yourself, lay back. Yeah, you just popped up and like, just me. Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. Like, yeah. You'd have like one flight attendant doing their little signs and stuff. Put your life jacket on, which I always find those funny too. I'm like, we're all gonna die.
Yeah. I know the water evacuation over the mainland. We're going from Dallas to Seattle here, y'all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You gonna find a lake to park this thing in?
Oh, the funniest thing. So whenever they go through the whatever those are, the rules, type of thing, and once it gets the oxygen part, I always think of Brad Pitt and Fight Club. It's like, I wear a mask. Why? Because oxygen makes you high.
Yeah.
Because then everyone calms down and they get high on the plane before they all die. It's like very, very interesting. So that's what I always think of every single time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
I'll tell you, one time I was on a flight, so spoiler alert, I don't wear a seatbelt. I don't want to limp away from that. And so dude, I'm up in first class. And, first class, you got to recline a little bit more, right? And they give you drinks and all the whole, whole freaking thing, you've been up there. And, like, sometimes there's some turbulence, right? It'll jolt you, it'll do this thing. I mean, it doesn't even bother me. I mean, nothing, right? So I'm sitting there laying back, just chilling, blah, 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 blah. Dude, all of a sudden, dude, I'm smashed into the roof, like into where the bags go. I'm like, boom. Then all of a sudden I just hit like a freaking rock, dude. Everyone's glasses are spilt all over the place. I'm like all disoriented trying to click that freaking thing back together. Dude, it dropped like that, dude. And the stewardess that was up in the front could not stop giggling because my huge ass smacked. I'm not talking like my whole face, like face, chest. I'm like, ah! And dude, I come back down. And, first time I buckled up, dude, on a plane in probably 10 years. But see, if my wife was there, she would have lost her mind and probably never been on a flight again. Because it was like one of those ones where it just drops.
Oh, yeah.
Which they get you.
Oh, yeah. I've been on, yeah. I was on one recently that landed sideways in Minneapolis.
Go on.
Well, I mean, you see those videos all the time where planes come in like this.
Yeah.
And then they touch and turn like that. Yeah, I was in that recently with this guy. I was with a whole ton of people. Me and this guy, we were the only ones laughing. Once it landed, I was like, oh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And, you got people, I mean, going nuts because
you're
crying. Oh, I've had that too, where they're all doing the cry. I'm like, is this, were we that close? I don't know. I do this a lot. I don't know. I kind of like how I shook it up a little bit, Yeah. Landing normal way too many times, But, I mean, I've landed where they've landed hard enough where it hurts your back.
Yeah.
It's like, did you pull the tires on that one? Holy cow.
Dude, every time that happens, I think rookie. They just compress those things. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I haven't had too many bad landings. I'll tell you one other funny story. My wife, Michelle, loves this story, right? So I'm on a plane, I'm just joking around with her. I'm like, oh, babe, this, you comfy, just being funny, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, listen, this is the best place that people watch ever. You watch people. They're crazy nervous. Some are scared. Some have done this so many times they want to go hang themselves after. Like, an airplane is like not really a peaceful place until you're up, right? And then everyone's just got it chilling. And there's this guy, dude, and he throws his bag in, right? And he's like right across from us, dude. And he like goes to slam the thing down. Well, just so you guys all know, don't touch that. That's what the stewardesses do. Put your freaking bag in there, get in your seat, right? Yeah. So he starts slamming it down. It comes back up. He slams it down again, right? Comes back up. Slam, slam. He just starts slamming it, dude. And I just start chanting again. I'm all, again. And I had about 6 people freaking tearing up laughing, dude. He would not stop. Finally, the stewardess came down and was like, hey. And he's, and she immediately moves this little strap over, like clicks it soft, dude. And he sits down. And I was just like, people on a plane, man.
Oh, man. I see those videos of people where they can't fit their bags in the overhead bin, and they have someone oh, you should learn to play Tetris when you were a kid, or Legos or something, And it's so, you see those people so often. I was like, what are you doing?
I know.
Just sit down. But, oh, yeah.
I know, my wife thinks I'm some freaking Stalin, Hitler type when I go through the airport, and I'm just like, I just can't handle the, people don't know where they're going. There's 1,000 signs where to go, and everyone just always looks all confused, like, oh, you need my ID? It's like, is this your first time? How many freaking times have you been through this?
Man, the pet peeves you get at the airport, it's like one of my biggest ones is the baggage claim. right? So everyone's waiting there. It's going around the conveyor belt. You know, everyone's waiting for their bags. You got to have that one guy that's just like right at the front, being like, I'm going to catch my bag as it comes out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be the first one. You know, his bag's usually the last. He just stands there the whole time. And then like you got people that just like sit all around like right at the edge. It's like, well, when I got to get my big bags out,
Yeah.
it's like I'm like, excuse me, you know, like stand back a couple feet so we can get our bags out.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll pull a bag out and just let it kind of drag and then hit some people. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you were so close,
Yeah.
I couldn't get it.
You didn't want to take that 90-pound shot of tool bag.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
See, I don't fly that much with the bag because I'm so paranoid about, you know, not having it, especially because it's got like all of our tools and whatever, right? Or my measuring tools mostly, not the tools you have. You have like actual tools.
Yeah.
And so I fly down to like Austin or somewhere with Garrett, right? And dude, I brought my tools. Anyways, I get off the plane, do the whole freaking thing, get to the airport or get to the hotel. I'm sitting there laying there, dude. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, oh, freak. I love my tools, you know? And Garrett's like, what? So like we're calling the airport and they're like, hi, you've reached us after hours. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I get a hold of Delta because I flew down Delta. And they're like, oh, I'm sure they just pulled your bag. Don't worry about it. But I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, dude, it's a freaking like, what's those bags? Husky bag. It's a freaking tool bag. It's got like hundreds of dollars of tools in it. I'm like, there's no way this thing exists. I'm just going to go to Home Depot. Garrett's like, come on, dude, let's go try it. I'm like, all right. Anyways, we go over there. Freaking sure as crap, dude. It's just sitting there, ready for me to grab. And I'm like, that is insane. No one stole this.
So I'm the opposite with my carry-ons. I forget my carry-on all the time.
Oh, do you?
I said I left it in a restaurant the other day. Luckily, I went early enough and I came back. It was at Squatters.
Oh, yeah.
Like leaving, and I come back. I'm like, hey, have I left a bag here? The guy's like, how did you forget your bag? I'm like, I normally check my bags. And then I left on a plane once as well. I was on like a 4-hour layover, left on the plane. I'm sitting, and just before I get onto the plane, I realize I'm like, oh, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So I go back to the terminal, and the guy's like, oh, that plane's in. I mean, I don't even know where I think I was in Portland, and that bag was in L.A. at that time. Like it had already done that flight, everything.
Oh, yeah.
So we're tracking that down. So yeah, I had to go buy some new clothes and stuff. I'm like, I'll just send that thing home. I'm only here for like a day.
Yeah, exactly. It's over.
So
I'll tell you one cool thing happened to me one time is I found a cell phone.
really?
Yeah, I was literally like trying to get my freaking treat or whatever I had, you know, in the little pocket in front. And I pull out this cell phone, like turn it on, it's got like all these missed calls. I'm like, huh. So I just hit it, right? And I'm like calling in, they're all, hello, hello? And I'm like, hey, there's some random dude that found a phone. You know whose phone this is? And they're like, yeah, it's my husband's. I was like, oh, cool. I'm like, hey, here's my cell phone number. Just text me the address. You want me to send this to? And when I get home tonight, I'll just overnight it in the morning to you. And she's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And so I get home, you know, I overnight it to him, you know, blah, 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 exactly what I said I would do. It was what I would like to happen to me if I left my $1,500 phone on a plane, you know. And dude, she kept on texting me like, I needed, how much was it? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, seriously, don't worry about it. Send all sorts of crap every day. Like, it's just another thing. No big deal. And they sent me a huge, like, box of, like, candy and stuff, like,
oh, really?
to ADP.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, to the office. So then I just left it up there and, you know, ate what I ate. But yeah, it was really cool. I was like, yeah, man, helping the universe out.
That is awesome.
So,
sure, man, we'll come back.
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time. That's what we'd like to hope.
Yeah, we like to hope. So, fun question. What's it like working for your brother?
I like it. It's relaxed.
Good answer.
So, no, but it's relaxed. Like, I mean, kind of like we said at the start, you know, we're like-minded. So we don't clash on things. As far as work goes, when a task needs to be done, we think the same. Yeah. We kind of attack it the same way, get it done, you know, do what's best, you know. So I don't have to run to you and be like, hey, what should I do here? Which I know is your huge pet peeve with people that work for you is like, hey, you know, and people don't want to take responsibility. And, you know, I kind of understand that, you know, because people are like, oh, man, if I make a mistake, you know. But I don't really have that because I'm family. And I can always justify the reasoning I do something, you know. It's like, oh, why'd you overnight this? It's like, oh, because this saved money on this end.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, if there ever is a question that ever comes up.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I don't ever, you know, I don't have to run to you and stuff like that. So that it just makes things like what I do flows very, very well, you know. No,
I can't remember the last time you came to me, except for when we bought your new truck. because that was fun. And you were like, I found this truck. It's like, all right, let's go.
But we found out a place not to buy from again.
Yeah, we will not be buying from there again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. It's tip-top now.
This hasn't been my year with cars. Or boats.
Well, let's see what happens to our boat. I called that today. They don't know what's going on yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of life, right? It's just like whatever.
Yeah.
Even at the office, you know, I do. We have like really long-term employees. And so my natural inclination is to help people. But at the same time, it's like you almost handicap them as well, right? If you're just always answering the same question over and over and over again. It's like, dude, you should be better at this.
Yeah.
You know, it's really easy.
Yeah.
There's two choices to make. Do I make the customer happy, and at what cost? You just got to balance those two things. What costs the company the least amount of money, or what makes the company the most amount of money? Mm-hmm. So you have to have customers. You have to treat them well, right? Sometimes a lot better than they treat you, and that's fine. That's construction, right? But you're also not going to blow $20,000 helping some bro out that spends like $4,000 with you every year, right?
Yep.
Rule 2. And as long as you answer those two things, what do I care?
Yeah.
You know, there's been plenty of mistakes, man. There's been plenty of money shot out the door. I don't know how to say burned in the back. So, I really like our crew, you know, that we've got at ADP right now.
Yeah.
So seems to be working.
I used to do a job with Garrett and Reno. This is my biggest customer this year.
Yeah.
They're awesome, super awesome to work with. And my contact there was I was telling him, like, hey, let me take you out to eat, you know, take you out to lunch or dinner, whatever, you know. And then he insisted. He's like, no, I'm taking you out. I'm taking you guys out.
Oh,
Where
really?
do you want to go? Yeah. You know, so as we're going there, I was like, Gary, when's the last time you had a customer take you out to eat? He's like, never. You know, I'm like,
yeah,
dude, that's how I am with these customers. That one Oregon job. You sent me on an Oregon job. It was in south of Eugene. What's that called? Anyways,
Bend?
No, that's more in the mountains, like literally just south on I-5. Oh. There was a big shooting there, like right before I went there too. So it was a little.
If I honestly didn't know that question,
Roseburg.
I would ask you. Yeah, yeah, you're the guy I asked for the stuff like that.
Right. So it was in Roseburg, and if you remember, this contractor was he was so upset with us because we were late. They were starting to lay down the wood on the floor, the actual like finishing. Mm-hmm. Just putting the planks down, not finishing it, but just putting the planks down. And we had 2 units to put up. And you were just like, this guy's super mad. He's like, if he gives you any attitude, load the equipment on the trailer, drive it back home, and we just won't even do this job. And that must
have been an extreme situation.
This was a very extreme. This guy was, I get for whatever reason, right? So I show up on site, and this guy's not being nice to me. And we're kind of chatting. He says we got to install soft scaffolding, which I won't do.
Yeah,
you know. And I'm just like, oh, well, we'll see how this goes. And we kind of start chatting. And then, so you talked to me before I went there, like the night before. So you haven't been talking to me this morning yet. And anyways, I relate with this guy on the sand dunes. He's a big sand dunes guy. And they have these really cool sand dunes in Oregon. So him and me start chatting. And then he relaxes a ton. And then he's like, okay. He's like, I'll let you use the lift. I was going to make you do a soft scaffolding. I'm like, well, there's no way in hell I'm doing the soft scaffolding. Yeah. So he's just kind of like, but then we were kind of like on like a little bit of a friendly level. So anyways, he's like, can you get this done today? I'm like, if you let me work till whatever time tonight, I'll get this done today. And then you called me at probably about 7 or 8 p.m. And you're like, oh, how's the job going? I'm like, oh, well, I'm out to lunch right now or out to dinner right now with the contractor. You're like, no way. I said, yeah. Me and him are at Applebee's right now getting a couple drinks. Yeah. You're like, no way. How are you? You know? Yeah. And anyways, he went back with me. Not only did I completely change that guy's attitude, then we're going out to each other. Then he's helping me get it done, and he was there with me till about 2 a.m. getting that project done.
That's crazy.
So he was kind of doing a couple of things when I needed help. He helped me and got it done the next day. I mean, just total. I don't know. It was.
No, you're the best by far with that. It's not even
calming
close.
People down.
Yeah. Well, no, just making friends with the contractors, and I mean, people request you all the time. You know what I mean? We've had different installers over the years. Some are personable, and some absolutely aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I never understood the ones that aren't. just because it makes life so much easier when you show up and you're friends with the contractor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm friends with a lot of the guys on the ownership's end, you know, and the PM end, you know, not the site supers, the guys that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you're friends with some of the PMs too, but like, you know, it's like a different game. Once they know you, I mean, we have certain contractors who are just like, hey, this job's yours. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, and that's why we fair price across the country. You know, we don't really try and go in anywhere and just, you know, hit up Grand Slam. It's just like, no, we just hit doubles everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So it's also why we're destroying the competition.
This is great.
So no, treating people good, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So outside of Utah, what's your favorite state to work in?
I don't know. I mean, I go to Washington, Oregon a lot, and I really like those places. During COVID, you know, and the politics up there made it difficult. You know, to get into a restaurant, you had to, you know, check every box. So
Do you have a blood sample?
had to lie sometimes to get a meal. Did a lot of Uber Eats. I got tired of Uber Eats. I mean, that was so convenient at the start. It was awesome. Like, oh yeah, just deliver it to the job site and, you know, save time and all this stuff, you know. But
you're not doing that as much?
well, I mean, I've done it probably 1,000 times now, you know. So you're just getting your lukewarm meal. You know, it's not quite as fresh. It's not quite as relaxing too, because part of it, you know, you got to keep your mind right and stuff like that. So it is actually good to go take a break, go to a restaurant for an hour, and then come back. Sometimes it's good to do that. But yeah, when it's just like nonstop work, and then you kind of get like a crappy meal that's way expensive, you know, and then keep it.
No, those things used to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I mean now you're almost like $40 if you get like a burger and a side or something like that. You know, you got, you know, that's $20 now, and then you've got the delivery fee, which is $8, and then you've got your tax and Uber's fee, and then a tip. Yeah. You know, it adds up. Yeah, used to be a lot better. It used to be actually, I mean, it was like $20. Yeah. You know, you have it, and then it's like, man, this got delivered to me for $20. That's great. Yeah. You know, it would have cost me, you know, lost time. It would have cost me $150 to go get it. Yeah,
because time off the side is just, you're not making any money.
Right. So yeah, I do that a little bit less now, but it kind of just depends. If it makes sense, I do it. If it doesn't make sense, I don't. So.
Some of our guys will just buy a pizza at noon, eat half of it, and eat the other half at 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm trying to lose some calories. Yeah. So yeah, that isn't always the best as I'm talking about ordering.
Oh, I don't think that's ever the best.
No,
so that's like heartburn central.
Yeah,
you know. So my thing, I normally do when I install. I'm an early guy. I try and get there between, you know, well, early. Some of these guys get there at 5, but I try and get there like 7 or 8. You know, and it's just like Gatorade and granola bars all day until we go eat. At 4, and then we come back, and then I'm the same way. I don't like gearing down. Like grabbing all your tools, throwing them in the car. Then you got to drive somewhere, and you're normally sweaty as crap, you know, especially when you're working like, I've done a lot of save jobs, right, where we go to Vegas or Arizona in the summer, and it's just like, dude, you're just never not sweating.
Right.
And so I'd rather just go take a shower and go to bed.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm like that more on jobs that have time limits, time schedules. So it's like you can only be here at 7 a.m. till 4:30. Yeah. And then I never leave those job sites. Yeah. You know, you just push yourself, and then it's like, yeah, you have a big break at the end of the day, but you don't leave.
That's got to be one of the most ridiculous things that contractors ever implement.
Yeah, it's just
time limits on a job site.
Yeah.
Because every single time you get to the last 3 months of a job, they eliminate all that crap because they're behind. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you're behind. You've you know, canaled your entire timeline until the end, and then you just blow it up at the end for anyone to come work at any time. Yeah. It's like, it's ridiculous. And it's a union thing.
Well, I was just going to say, working for the unions. In Chicago, I had that, you know, where they, you know, we had to have a union certificate, and then whoever the project manager was procrastinated like crazy, so we never got it. And then finally it was just like, just come in. Right. Sneak you in. Don't talk to anybody. Yeah. I mean, I got hidden in a room by the contractor. I mean, he's like, the big guys are here, the top guys are here. You got to come in my office. Locked me in his office. Just sitting there for half an hour, then they leave. He's like, all right, you're going back. Don't talk to anybody.
Which is ridiculous, because people need to understand this. It's not illegal. We're not doing anything illegal. What they do is they have some idiotic agreement for general labor, which we don't even really fall under, but then we don't fall under any other category. So then they just don't want to have the argument with the freaking union guys. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, just let us work. Yeah. So, Well, you know, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
I just went field measured a union job in Minnesota, and they were installing it. So they were like, we've got to install this, but you guys can come measure that, you know, type of thing. And this was a nightmare job as far as conduit everywhere, sprinkler pipe, everything, mess. And I just measure this. I'm like, well, it's going to be fun for them. That's going to be a really good learning experience because they're going to go crazy trying to install it. But, yeah, we should just have those guys install it for $10,000, you know, and just cost us 40.
Oh, at least 40, because they're going to do exactly what you say. They're going to throw 6 guys on that bad boy and pay $95 an hour, and those guys are going to loaf around and do nothing for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't even know how that world exists. Yeah. There's a place for unions, and it's not in construction.
Right.
So you just can't convince me it works anywhere inside construction. And there's dudes that will argue to the death, probably even fist fight me over that, because their dad was a union guy and his dad was a union guy. It's like, dumb, dumb, dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb, dumb. Oh, yeah. I actually tried to sign a union agreement with the Southern Carpenters just so we can get around all the frickin' talk about it, you know. Mm-hmm. But Southern Union, or the California Southern Union, covers like freaking 8 states, including Utah. So if I signed that agreement just to do work in San Diego, basically, we'd have to pay union wages and like all the fees and all the fringe benefits in Utah. Oh. I was like, nope. Will not do it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I don't know, whatever. California loves spending 3 times as much on anything that we do in any other state.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Judas Priest, Arizona's freaking a couple hours away, and it is literally half the price to build in Arizona that it is to build in California. Yeah. And they all pat themselves in the back like it's the greatest thing ever. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm doing a job there in 2 weeks in Anaheim. And it's just like, destination cost. It's like, this is your destination cost. Yeah. It's more than anywhere else because you guys have $7 a gallon fuel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and your hotels are nuts.
Yep.
So, and then they just approve it.
Yeah, being down there kind of sucks. Yeah. I mean, California has some nice things about it, but man, working down there, you know, they do unethical crap all the time. We had one year that California decided they didn't have enough money, so they just taxed every open contract on construction by like 1.5%. Just bop. It was like, oh, okay. We're just arbitrarily throwing taxes in. Sounds good. Because you can normally get that stuff in the bid. You know, we kind of know what we're doing in the bid. But.
Right.
So what's the last fun job you've been on?
So a lot of the time I will try and I'm big into, you know, recreational vehicles, motorsports and stuff like that. So if I have a job that will go past something like that, I'll try and make it work. So just recently I had a job that
you mean location, right?
Like location wise, yeah. So I do a lot of jobs that are at different locations. So I had one that was in, you know, Seattle area, Bellevue, and then down in Medford, Oregon. So just right down I-5. And just off there, you got those sand dunes in Oregon.
Yeah.
And so I swung by there, brought a 4-wheeler with me, and, you know, there was a big event up there, so I had a little bit of fun, you know, type of thing. And then coincidentally enough, I just got another job right there at North Bend, which I was thinking was Bend, but North Bend is just north of Coos Bay, which is right where the dunes are at. Literally,
nice.
This church building that I'll be going to literally can see the dunes.
Oh, cool.
So
And you end up taking the family, right?
I'd take them on probably, I don't know, 30% of the trips I go on. It definitely depends on location.
Yeah.
So location and then what I'm doing. So if I'm doing a job that requires me to be there from, you know, 16 hours a day, then they don't come. And then if they're marathon drives, then they don't come. You know, so
what? Viv doesn't like marathon drives?
I mean, that girl, she can do very, very well. She's been going on road trips since she was 6 months old, 4 months old. I mean, she was hitting road trips. So, I mean, she's done, under 6 months old, she did 2 trips in Texas that were over 1,200 miles, you know, in like a 4-day span. Yeah. You know, so she does really well.
She's flown with you a lot?
And she flies it. Yeah, she's been on so many flights. So many flights. Because that was actually one of the good things. She was born just for COVID. So when COVID started, and then we were like, you know, this is nonsense. Let's just travel.
Yeah.
I started bringing them because Victoria gets a companion pass, so she's free, and then essentially free. And then they didn't have anyone in the middle seats. So then I have a really big kid. So then it was like, instead of having this lap baby, she got her own seat every time.
Yeah.
So she's had her own seat since she was like probably 8 months old.
Yeah.
I think is probably when they started flying again. So she's always had that middle seat, which is awesome, you know? So didn't have to do too much of like having like the lap kid, because now, I mean, yeah, but she's definitely been on a lot of flights. She's been in a lot of states. She's probably been to like 15 states or something like that so far. She's 2.5.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I try to take them on some fun ones and stuff like that.
That's nice. I mean, that's kind of one of the perks, right? You know, you got a job in California, Anaheim, right? I mean, I'm sure people listen to this are just like, dude, that's right next to Disneyland. It's like, it is.
Yep.
But Disneyland's super expensive. So.
Yeah, we're not going to Disneyland this time. Even though now my little girl's trained to say like, oh yeah, I want to go to Disneyland, Dad. Because I guess we did take her to Disney World earlier this year. Yeah. So she loves it, but she loves everything. Yeah. So if I take her to the beach, she'll just love the beach. Yeah. You know? Take her to a restaurant, she'll love the restaurant. Like, it doesn't matter.
My kids love the beach more than they like Disneyland.
Really?
And don't get me wrong, they're having fun there. But like, dude, the beach is like, that's where they just love it.
Well, Disneyland's a good thing to do every, so many years. Keep a gap between and keeps it exciting. Having a season pass and going there 3 times a year or something, it's just old. Oh, yeah.
See, to me, it's actually cheaper to go rent a house on the beach almost anywhere than it is to go to Disneyland for a week.
Oh, yeah.
Disneyland is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And I'd like memorize the place. You know? Why am I going down this place again?
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, no knock on Disney. It's just, you only be there so many times.
Right. So. No, yeah, Disney World. We went to Universal, then we went to Disney World, and I can't remember the first day. I walked like 15 miles.
Oh, yeah.
In Universal, and then we walked like 20 in Disneyland. I'm like, I want to go home now. Yeah. I've filled my cup.
Oh, here's the thing that's funny. My kids, I don't think my kids have actually ever seen the fireworks at Disneyland. Nor do they know they exist. Because it's like, look, it's 8 o'clock. Dad has been here all day. It's time to go. You know, and they're just like, and most of the time they're worn out too. I mean, we run them in the flipping ground. If you remember Brea and I was down at a job on her birthday. And I just said to Michelle, I said, hey, on her 6th birthday, and she's 12 now. And I said, I go, hey, I just want to take her down there. I just want to take her to Disneyland, just me and her on her birthday. Michelle's like, oh, that'd be amazing, And it was. But we got there like 8 o'clock in the morning, right? She's dressed up like Elsa or Anna, one of the two, I don't know, doing the whole thing. I tried to do her hair best I could. Holy crap. And, dude, I wore her out by 4:30. It was just one of those days where, like, 'cause her birthday's in October. It was just one of those days that it just wasn't busy. Yeah. So it was like ride. And then I was just like, you want to go anymore? And she was like, yeah, I want to go on this one. So I freaking roll over there, do it again. Want to do another one? She said one other one. And then after that, she's like, I'm done. I was like, kind of like 4:30, I was just like, it's a little early. Yeah. Like I just paid, a couple $100 to get in here. And I was just like, freaking screw it. Yeah. So I took her back to the hotel room. Bought us a pizza because that's what she wanted, and we just vegged out, watched a movie. She fell asleep by maybe 7, and then we flew home the next morning. And it was awesome. And so I've actually been able to take all my kids on their 6th birthday down there. And so Michelle started coming with me with Nixon and Harper. But yeah. In fact, Harper's was a little bit later because she didn't want to go down there without her brother and sister. Right. And I was like, well, babe, this is kind of a special one between, me and you and Mom. And she was just like, I don't care. And you know her, right? She's the most stubborn thing ever. She's cute. She is by far the most stubborn child in our family. Yeah. You just got to talk her into things. And then, eventually. So we took her brother and sister down there, but it was kind of like her thing. We kind of made it about her or tried to make it about her. But it was fun. I think that was the last time I went. She's 6 right now. That was the last time I went. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we probably won't go again for a couple of years. Unless we get invited, then we'll go because I try and say yes to everything.
See, I'd rather go to Disney World.
Me too.
So, because now I kind of figured out how that works. Because one, you get a hotel on the place, at the resort. Then you get tired, you go back to the hotel for a little bit. Yeah. Run around as much as you want. Trade off and stuff like that. I mean, much nicer. But we tried to park hop while we were down there, and that's not the way to do it. No. I mean, you burn like 3 hours.
I don't even do that at Disneyland because, they have the hopper between Disneyland and California Adventures. That's stupid. Yeah. You're going to go from walking 15 miles to walking 30 miles if you're just bouncing back and forth to each park. Yeah. I mean, my gosh, dude, from Star Wars to Cars, it's going to be an hour walk. Yeah. especially if you're fighting kids and.
No, exactly. Your kid's on your shoulder most of the time. Just like, oh man, yeah. Oh man. But,
oh yeah.
So we'll see. We'll probably go down for her 3rd or 4th birthday or something like that. But then she's October as well. She always gets the like the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
You know, so that's fun.
Yeah, that is fun. So it is. I mean, yeah. I mean, so it is good. You know, traveling around the country and seeing some places, and you know, installing is definitely not easy work. But it's also not crazy hard either. Would you agree?
No, what I do is a little bit different too, because I'm a lot more on the customer, and like the customer is very happy I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're in like AC and stuff like that, or heat, I guess, in the winter time.
Yeah, you're in an occupied building.
Yeah, I'm an occupied building, so it's a different atmosphere you have. Yeah. You're not fighting with people.
Honestly, there's also less mud and crap, right? Because they have driveways and they have asphalt. And
yeah, you're not getting dirty. And they don't care what you wear, so your PPE, you don't need to be in a hard hat, goggles, gloves, vest, pants, boots, you know, and the gloves on the really strict jobs, face shields. I mean,
I remember I went to Vernal one time, and I was so busy that day. I left at like 4:30 in the morning because I was like, I got to get to Vernal, I got to measure this job, I got to drive all the way back. Then I got like 3 hours at the office before 5 or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I get out there, and I'm wearing Adidas track pants, right? And this bro was like, oh, absolutely not. You have to have jeans. And I was like, I have to shoot like 6 measurements. I'll be out of here in 15 minutes. And he's like, jeans only. I was like, all right.
Those people.
So I think I rolled over to a Walmart, didn't have my size. Then I had to go to somewhere else. I think I ended up going to like a freaking tractor store or some bullshit to get like some like actual Levi's.
Carhartt for overalls. Does this work, sir?
Oh, dude. I come back over there, dude. He kind of gives me like the, you know, welcome into the place. And it's just like, you know, freaking punch you in the face, dude. And literally I was gone in 15 minutes and I had a brand new pair of whatevers. Yeah. It wasn't Wranglers. I wish it was Wranglers because that'd be a funnier thing to me, at least in my head. Right. I'd own a pair of Wranglers finally. Yep. Carhartts are actually dope.
Yeah, they've gone popular. It's still funny.
Have you ever worn them? Do you have any pairs?
No.
Oh, they're like super comfy.
Some newer Wranglers.
Do you really?
But they don't look like Wranglers. They're stretchy. I mean, they're the best sweatpants I have.
Well, that's the Carhartt ones too. They're like that stretchy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They actually like put more stretchier material in like the parts that move, you know, like in your knees and like in your hips and stuff like that. It's really nice. I was like, oh man, these are too bad I don't work more. I've turned into the guy that won't even change his own oil because I don't have time.
No, I'm the same way. Same way. Time is money.
Yeah.
Time is money, but also like money equates to like family time too.
Yeah.
Like being with the family is, you know, more important.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when you're busy, it's nice to be home for a little bit. I mean, the other day I was home for like 6 hours because I had flights delayed and all that sort of stuff. And that's this day and age now is
it's
delayed flights everywhere. So
I haven't flown that much the last 4 or 5 months. I've mostly been down to like Vegas and back, and I'm trying to remember where else I went. A couple back east.
We get like pilot strikes and stuff like that. It's more when you're hitting layovers. That's where you're kind of run into an issue. Like I missed my plane, you know, because they were circling around because of weather. That's the one we landed sideways. So they, you know, Delta purchased a hotel for me that night and stuff like that. And
oh, really?
Yeah. So it was that whole thing, and you know, I don't know. It was so funny. This guy that was right behind me was arguing with the lady that's setting up everyone's hotels.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what is this? You know, and like just arguing. She's like, sir, do you want to become a pilot? He's like, well. You know, she's like, yeah, just sign up for pilot school and then you can help us out. We have a pilot shortage. He's like, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, dude, move on, man. It's midnight right now. Stop arguing with this lady.
Yeah, can I get my room key? Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know.
No, those people need to be tarred and feathered and beat. Yeah. Like, who argues with like a bank teller? You know what I mean? Or like the chick that's just like, click, 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 click. Where are you going? Dallas? Great. Like, they don't care.
No.
They have no power.
Nope.
You know? It's
no. Oh, actually, sir, we have a private jet I can fly you on.
Yeah.
You just reminded me because you are such a great guy. I really enjoy your presence. So we have a private jet right here. Just wait here for 3 hours. Let's get it fueled up.
And don't tell all the other 300 passengers that you're going on a private jet. Oh, yeah. It's insanity.
Oh, man.
It's absolute insanity. Man. So here's an interesting question. So what's it like working at the same company for like 25 plus years? You're probably 28-ish years.
Yeah, like it's funny telling people that. It's like, oh yeah, I've been here for 30 years. They're like, you're not old enough to work for someone for 30 years. I was like, oh, you didn't have a Scottish dad?
Oh, son of an immigrant.
You did have a son of an immigrant. I mean, you know us so well. You know the industry super, super well. So, I mean, most people in our situation would be 60 years old and have kind of the knowledge base that we have and something, and we're, much younger than that. And so it's nice because when you're selling a product or something, you're so knowledgeable on what you're doing, it just makes it a whole lot easier. Yeah. So instead of being like bounce around, because I have some friends, it's like, oh, what does he do for a living? I'm like, I have no idea. He's had 10 jobs in the last 10 years. Yeah. I have no idea what he does. Yeah. Some type of this, he's always done this. Yeah. Right. So it is nice, and having that stability and stuff like that. And just you just become better and better and better at your job, especially if you're enjoying it, and I do so many different things that nothing gets monotonous. It's not like I'm making missionary cases every single day for the last 10 years and been like, it's great. Yeah. I'm so good at screwing wood together. Right. It's like, I did that, I learned that, and then I moved on and did this thing, and then moved on and did this thing, So. Plus,
you've seen a lot of employees.
Yeah.
Because you're just like me. Yeah. You haven't fired as many of them as I have, but.
I've had some quit because they didn't like me.
Yeah, me too. See you later.
Yeah. No, I remember I had one. He didn't like me because I was probably like 21, and I was essentially his boss in shipping. He just didn't like that. He was a 45-year-old type of dude that just did not appreciate that I was bossing him, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I'm chill, so you got to do this, Yeah. And he did not like that. So I don't know.
No, that's an awkward position to be in. When Dad made me president, I was like 27, right? And so I don't know, 30% of them is seeing me as a 15, 16-year-old bleach blonde, doofus of a high school kid / big football player kid that just messes around. My favorite thing before I left on my mission, right? So I'm like out of high school. There was a girl that worked, Vicky, right? Remember Vicky? I would literally call up a pizza place. I'd just say, hey, do you guys do discounts on large orders? And they'd be like, yeah, and I'd be like, great, perfect. I'm like, hey, I'm going to send you over to my assistant. We got a big company party. She's going to take care of everything, right? Put them on hold, dude. I'd just be like, Vicky, line 4, Hi, this is Vicky. All right, man, what do you want? And just like, dude, it wouldn't take long because she's not dumb or anything, But then she'd be like, Mark, just be like, yeah.
Got her.
Do it Chinese restaurants, just do it all the freaking time.
Oh, man.
So
that is right. There was a lot of pranks.
Yeah.
There's no pranks now.
That died when I became president.
Oh, man.
Because I had to stop pranking people I thought in my head. This is not going to be good if I'm like.
The funniest was putting the tape tells on people.
Tape tells are the best.
Tape tells were.
Explain what that is.
So tape tells when you like masking tape, real sneaky. And there were some really sneaky guys in the back.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even freaking know. But anyways, just real sly, they come up behind you and put like a 4-foot piece of masking tape,
2-inch wide,
right, 2-inch wide, like right above your butt, like right at your belt line. Put it there. And then what that does is you're walking around and you just have this 4-foot tail flapping. So it just looks funny, right? But then if they left there long enough, then it would start to like attach to their pants, and then it would like cinch their pants up.
Yeah.
So then they're walking around, they're like, what the heck is it? And then you can't see it anymore. You're just like, what is, this feels weird.
Something's touching me, yeah.
And then we'd get people to play off each other, right? I think that was the best, because you could be like, yeah, put it on this guy. They put on that guy. And then you get that guy be like, oh, you should put it on him. And then they're laughing at each other, and they both have these freaking 4-foot tape tells.
Double tell.
Can't believe how funny that guy looks. And it's like, oh, he does look funny.
He's hilarious.
Oh, did that. Then you always had Paul Martinez wrapping up the like a rag with masking tape, and you could launch those things accurately, like 60 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Just.
Oh, dude. When I was in his area, there was a guy over there named freaking Charles or something weird, or Ray or something like that.
Yeah.
Ray
Charles?
Maybe. Yeah, who knows? And he would pull the flipping safety back on the nail guns. Oh. And he would sit in the corner and like shoot them, and they'd like rainbow over, and like you'd be doing something, you'd be like, tink. And I remember just being like, bro, like, dude, if that thing hits me. And one time I hit a guy in the calf, and he like lost his ever living mind, right? He goes like freaking sprinting over there, and all the guys come out of nowhere, they're like breaking up. It's like, go, chill out, bro, have a joke, blah, blah, blah. And then one time, dude, when Uncle Shane was there, dude, he saw that happen, and I was like, oh, he's going to murder somebody, you know? And then it was like this huge meeting. He's like, that will never happen. This bow. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, this happens all day, every day for like years. Yeah. You know, like, how did you not see this before, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff happened all the time.
0.5% of our budget goes to staples.
Yeah. Why do we have so many staples now?
Oh, that reminds me of Shane. So when I was in shipping, there was this job that had to go out. So Shane, you know, how his personality is really good. You know, get stuff done. I'm you know, and his is like, you know, bash it, right?
Yeah.
Your motor doesn't start, you smash it with a hammer until it starts. You know, that's his personality. He comes out and he's like, I'll show you how to do this quicker. So if you remember, we had the 1x4s, butt them together, then you shoot the staple through. He goes out there, shoots one, it hits a knot and then sticks in his finger. And I'm like, oh! And he's like, oh! And he throws it down and walks off, and I'm like, thanks for the lesson.
Ouch.
Just went back to doing my thing and getting it done, you know. I mean, he
really walked in his office and pulled it out and spit on it, and then went back to what he was doing.
Good shit.
Oh, goodness, man.
He was hilarious. Yeah, so many things. Yeah, those staples, you could shoot them clear across the building. They'd stick in the wall on the other end.
Yeah, to the fiberglass, like plastic crap. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I could, yeah. We could probably tell stories for hours of all the things that were happening out there.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell this story. Sorry, Dad. But they used to draw male genitalia everywhere, right? And I just remember Dad coming out, and he like saw it on a pole, like saw it in the back of a whiteboard, like saw it on a packaging thing, and just lost it. If I see one more penis drawn, blah, just starts going crazy, and I'm just like, I never honestly did it, but you know, those guys did it all the flipping time. Like everywhere. The back of every marker board had a freaking penis on it, dude. And it's just like, now that I'm the owner, I'd be like, yeah, that'd piss me off too. If some customer pulls the whiteboard off, he's like, what the heck? And so, anyways.
I remember we were doing a job for like a border patrol or something like that. And Shane was actually really watching everyone when they were packaging it up. So they weren't like writing signs on it or something like, come and get me.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did the Cleveland Cavaliers practice facility. They put Jazz stickers on everything and like, go Jazz, and sent the thing off, which I thought was kind of funny, actually. Yeah. I'm like, that was kind of fun. I think they did with the Dallas Mavericks practice center, too.
Right.
But yeah.
That is funny.
That's fun working there. That's the fun thing about working in a business for so long. It is weird being the kids growing up, and now we're both in management positions / owner, you know. It's just like, I mean, the thing's weird with me. I never thought I'd be there my whole life, and who knows? But
yeah,
you know, of course, it could be. I could die tomorrow. Been there my whole life.
Yeah,
lifer. Been my 30 years. I don't get my Rolex though. I got to buy it for myself, which I won't do. So hey, to finish up, give me your best 2 minutes of advice. Working in a family business or life advice, whatever you think.
How can you kind of sum it up? I mean, being relaxed helps a ton. Being able to just let things roll off your shoulders. You know, just everything in life, right? You just can't take everything so seriously. You know, there's time to be serious. There's times to not be. You know, you can have a little bit of fun with stuff, but you also, you know, get stuff done at the same time. So being able to, you know, have things happen and then just be able to react and move forward is I think a good quality to have, you know, just with everything, because that's how life is, right? I mean, being an installer, do install jobs ever go 100% smooth? Never. You know, the whole time you're figuring things out. So if you're a type of person that can't handle stress situations, I mean, it's just not for you. And you'll be the person that's stuck in the office forever and capped off in pay, you know, because you can't react. So, I mean, just really relaxing, I guess, which sounds funny, you know, because it's not really like you're relaxing. You know, you're busy all the time, but you can take
It's your
punches
attitude towards stuff.
Yeah, your attitude towards stuff, you know. And then being personable as well, you know. And, you know, I hear people all the time that are like, you know, I'm proud to be an asshole, you know. And it's just like, oh, you're proud that you're just like, you put a ceiling on yourself down here, you know, because you're proud that you're going to have attitude and people don't like you. You know, that makes no sense. Yeah. You know, so being liked, you know, which is a bit of advice you have, right? Like you want your kids likable. It's the same thing too. Like you need yourself to be likable. Yeah. You know, it's going to help you get further in life. If you're a person that's not liked, you don't have friends. You're just stuck in your circle that you're in.
No, I'm actually writing a book called Likeability. So you already know that, but it's to me, it's the most important personality characteristic that you can have. Yeah, and it all flows from that. You have to be honest to be likable. You have to be good. You have to be competent. You know, you have to be kind. There's so many things that go into being likable, and I'm just like, almost any personality trait that you think is good really fits underneath that umbrella. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I totally agree with your advice, my friend. Thank you for coming on the show. All right. It's always fun having someone I love on the show. That's right. All right, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.